Oh? Hey! If it isn't Kanon-kun. It's been so long. How are you doing? Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted. Oh, hello. In the direction he was waving was a slender boy. Boy? I guess I can see it. Meeting him right after a huge man like Goda probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled-up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took off his hat, and bowed his head. Good afternoon. I figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Goda-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us. Battler Sama, allow me to introduce you. This is one of the servants of the Ushiromi head household. Kanon-san, greet our guest.
I am pleased to meet you. I am the servant, Kanon.
Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goda-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant. You couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. When Goda-san urged him in a whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Kanon only cast his eyes downwards. Kanon-san, could you perhaps give them a little more of a greeting?
No, because we are furniture.
Damn. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in greeting.
Well, Kanon-kun's shy and doesn't tend to talk much. He might not be that sociable, but deep down he's a really good person. Don't get him wrong. You've been working here for 3 years, haven't you? Pretty sure you started a year before Goda-san, right? Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible Jesus, she's not talking anymore. Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see, apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot. Okay then, nice to meet you. I'm Battler. I'm 18. How old are you? He fell silent, as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead. If I remember correctly, Kanon's 2 years younger than us, 16, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Looked like he would have preferred not to tell us his age if given the choice. That was probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. If I remember that, when I was around his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. I see, 16, huh? That's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have. Glad you're about to be our age. Just be cool and call me Battler. And I'll call you Kanon.
Thank you very much. But the sentiment alone is sufficient, Battler-sama.
Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think my impression of Kanon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at his age. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that. Kanon-san, could you perhaps be a little more courteous? A smiling face is also part of a servant's duty.
My apologies. I shall make an effort.
Goda-san, Kanon-kun is trying his best, yes?
It looked like he was often warned about being unsociable. And apparently he hadn't improved one bit. Goda-san kept his business smile, but let a small sigh of resignation escape.
Well then, I still have work to do. If you'll excuse me.
It looked like Kanon himself was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Just then the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance. What do you think you're doing? Oh, now, clean it up quickly. Goda-san urged him to hurry in a quiet voice as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of guests. Kanon-kun wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen objects, as if to say that he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and such, but he looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting up some sacks of fertilizer.
Are you okay? You're so careless. Here.
Milady, you'll dirty your garments. Please, leave this to us. With a smooth motion, Goda-san took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Kanon-kun was having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer.
You'll dirty your garments.
Don't worry, the ones I'm wearing aren't that expensive. Really? Because that looks like a pretty fancy schmancy suit. Besides, any guys who just sit there and make the waitress pick up the fork they dropped at a restaurant. I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course, they weren't light, but for me, it was a piece of cake. Kano-kun looked at me, surprised. It was the face of someone who'd never been expected to receive help from a guest.
But, Battler-sama, don't worry about it. I will take care of everything, so...
Don't you worry. I may not look it, but I've got it where it counts. Since Kano-kun looked like he hadn't yet gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sort of weak body. This kind of weight might have been too much for him. Yeah, it's quite heavy. It's natural that it would be difficult for you. Don't worry about it, Kano-kun. Okay, my time to shine. This makes up for the boat stuff from before, right?
Ha! As if this could make up for freaking out like that. Later, I'll tell you about it too, Kano-kun. Battler was totally hilarious. Gonna fall. Ooh.
As they did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow.
I beg your forgiveness for letting you witness such unsightliness.
Come now, that's quite enough. Please, go. Letting the guests, who were supposed to feel welcome, see such a disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Kano-kun left.
You're too harsh on him, Goda-san. Shouldn't you have helped him instead of being a bully?
That was wrong of me. I deeply implore your forgiveness. Without even a twitch and a smile, Goda-san apologized elegantly. Kano-kun has a ton of things he's good at too. And it's just that being young works against him all the time. It's a crying shame. Well, it's a prickly age. Let's just leave him be. After all, closed-mouthed servants are the best kind. Isn't that right, Kumasawa-san?
Rudolph-sama, you truly are harsh. There is no servant as silent as me, of course.
Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams. So she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa-bachan used to be. The once stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile. I'd like to set down our luggage soon. Goda-san, what rooms are we all going to take? It shall be the same as the previous year. Allow me to guide you. Please, this way. We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. This was going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Yes, just for the night. I'm sure nothing will happen to where you're stuck here. Kanon watched over ahead as the guests all entered the guest house. Then he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up the sacks in front of him. The sacks Kanon couldn't lift himself, as if they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Kanon. But as far as he could tell, by watching him hang his head, there was something that he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. But those words he murmured were so soft that they didn't reach even his own ears.
Even I.
Kanon hung his head, slightly biting his lower lip. Okay. Interesting. I remember the rose garden, but I don't remember this guest house at all. Was it built recently? Torayan was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design carefully done in harmony with the garden. Correct. It was built the year before last. Ever since they've had us sleep over here. Haha, this place is more fun than that junky old mansion you knew. I wish my room was over here.
I want a room here too. I want one.
I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me, it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd build this kind of awesome guest house for guests who come over only a few times a year. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, please do make use of this room. Rudolph-sama, Kairi-sama, please take this room here.
I really do love how beautiful and elegant this place is. Western-style architecture truly is wonderful.
I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that, you need the good old Japanese look. Japanese people just relax best on tatami mats.
They've been fighting over whether to make our new house Japanese style or Western style. Mom still holds a grudge about Dad having the construction started with a Japanese layout, and they bicker all the time about it.
I'm really jealous, George-san. Your parents get along well, don't they? Mine are so frosty. Then again, they're always in sync when it comes to my grades.
All the rooms seemed to be for 2 people. I was grateful since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with the old bastard under the pretext that we were family. And anyway, I figured those 2 wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around.
What's that creepy smile? You're thinking about something dirty, aren't you?
Something dirty? Of course not. Please enjoy your stay.
Ow! Ow! That hurts, you old bastard.
Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind. Got the crap. I'm getting a stomach ache and I'm not in the mood for this. You're the guest of honor this time around, so play as nice as possible with Dad, Nanaki, and the rest. At the very least, be careful what you say in front of Dad, got it? Because wisecracks don't go too well with him. Jessica-chan, what's the head's mood been like lately?
Same as last year, I guess. Considering they say he's got 3 months to live, and he's as lively, grumpy, and irritable as ever.
Meaning this year, he's in his usual bad mood. And as usual, the only one who's able to look after him is Genji-san.
It seems the master will open his heart to no one else. Lately, us small people have not even been granted an audience with him. He's shut himself up in his study again, probably doing nothing but that weird black magic of his. What he does for a hobby is his own damn business, but when he starts stinking up the house, it really gets on my nerves. I wish he'd never come out of that study again. Haha.
Wow. That's foreshadowing, isn't it? I wish he'd never come out of that study again. Like, that's the murder, isn't it? The whole murder mystery of this fucking story. He's gonna die in the study. Yeah, that's where they're gonna find the body anyway.
You shouldn't talk like that about the elderly. We're all indebted to him since he rebuilt the Ushiromiya family. We should be more grateful.
Huh, well, sorry.
After being rebuked by George Aniki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Ushiromiya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course that meant all its members were a bit strange and completely out of touch with the world at large. At the top of the chain of the family head, our grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying, even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomachache earlier, and I imagine that reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren, who could just play around and laugh without a care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even his grandkids have had to suffer. Jesus. This man's like, man, dude beat his kids. Why couldn't he give them just normal names? Like, I don't think those two really correlate there, my guy. Like, listen, if you're gonna beat your kids, at least give them normal names. Like, as if that somewhat justifies it. It's like, listen, alright, I'd understand, abusing your children if you at least gave them regular names, okay? Like, but if you're gonna beat your children and then give them stupid names, like, come on, you're kind of a piece of shit. Yeah, like, ugh. Anyway, can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with that sharp gaze of his. I remember that room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around, you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me. 6 years ago, I was in elementary school, but I'm a high schooler now. If I act up, things could get serious. Ooh, scary.
He does look frightening, but he's not so terrifying that you need to tense up like that. Nothing of what he says is truly unreasonable. He may be clumsy at talking, but he's a very logical person. But George-san, you've been the family darling since like forever because of your awesome grades, right? Grandfather treats us completely different. I've even gotten slapped with a wooden sword. On my ass. My ass! On my maidenly, innocent ass! Well, you're the heiress of the head family, Jessica-chan. Grandfather's giving you special attention. You've got to realize that his strictness reflects his high hopes for you. Oh, come on. Seriously, I could just turn the succession over to you, George-san. It's a bit of a heavy burden for me to carry.
I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. We're only cousins in branch families, so she probably feels a totally different sort of pressure than we do.
Jessica Oni-chan, Ne-chan, is that heavy? If I help hold it, will it get lighter?
Huh? Thanks. I'm not gonna push it on you, Maria. I'm gonna bear this cross until my grave. Don't worry.
Oh, you're gonna die, aren't you? She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Like, when I know that a story contains death in some aspect, I'm immediately just like, okay. So, like, they say just one fucking offhanded comment, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're dead, aren't you? Yeah, you're fucking dead, right? Yeah, you're gonna die. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future.
Maria, come here. You and I will be in this room. Bradley-kun, I heard you're going to be with me in this room here.
Oh? Now there's a surprise. It's bigger than our parents' rooms, dang.
Well, I figured we cousins would all want to hang out together, so I told them to get a bigger room ready.
I like it here more too. I'd rather be here than with Mama.
Oh, you like it better here too, Maria? Okay, this room is George's and mine, but we'll give you a special permission to come in. Better keep it a secret from your mom, okay?
It's a secret.
Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fist clenched tight. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor. Hey, what are you brats planning to do? Are your cousins just gonna stay here and chat? It seemed they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally, they would make us follow them and greet everyone together. But if that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come, so what'll we do? Well, it's gonna be lunchtime before long anyway. Better let the kids unwind here. Besides, if worse comes to worse, this might be their last chance to play outdoors.
I'll go too.
Maria, you house sit for Mama, okay? Behave yourself and wait here.
Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her on our own. George Aniki noticed this immediately and gave a clear reply for all of us cousins.
Well then, we'll accept your offer and house sit. We've got lots of stories to tell each other after being away for a year.
That sounds wonderful. And Badler-kun has 6 years worth of stories to tell, doesn't he? Yeah. I'll take care of the house like a good boy.
Kumasawa-san, I'm gonna stay here too. We'll break rank and leave the rest to the adults. Haha.
Perhaps that would be best. I'll report it to Madam.
That'll allow me to guide you all to the mansion. This way, please.
The other children are one thing, but George is getting to be an adult. Wouldn't it be better if he came with us?
If we make him come, then poor George will be the only one out of place. Interacting with his cousins is also important. Okay, see y'all later. The adults left one after the other. They left in the same formation as our trip from the harbor, with Goda-san leading and Kumasawa-san taking up the rear. As we gathered in the room assigned to his cousins, George Aniki asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa-san, who was falling behind the disappearing adults, and seemed to ask her something. He soon finished his business and came back. What's up, Aniki?
Nah, nothing. I just wanted to ask her something.
Tell me too. Tell me too.
What could George-san be asking Kumasawa-san and not me, I wonder? I don't have a clue. No, it's a misunderstanding. Not that I know what you're misunderstanding.
Aniki was getting pretty tongue-tied. It's almost though he felt guilty about something and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it, not me. Hey, Maria. Looks like we're the only two out of the loop, right? Don't you want to know what they're talking about?
We want to know too. We want to know too.
I fooled around while oohing together with Maria.
No, I'm telling you, it's no big deal.
Liar! I'm surprised you'd tell such a terrible lie, Aniki. Confess. Maria, you tickle his right side, I'll tickle his left.
I've got his right side, Badler's got his left. Wait a second. Wait, you two. Stop.
Maria and I played around chasing George Aniki as he tried to escape, rolling on the bed. I realize high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun.
Georgie-san, what were you asking Kumasawa-san? Well, I've got a good guess. It's been a year since last time you visited the head family. Who knows what servants might have come and gone during that time.
Oh.
Either way, looks like you'd like to go and say hi. Say hi. I want to say hi too.
What the hell? There's nothing to feel guilty about, Aniki. Nah, he was seeing one of the servants, wasn't he? I'm not buying it. Maria, don't be fooled. Aniki's still hiding something. More torture!
Stop it, seriously. Maria-chan, you two, stop already.
She's probably busy cleaning or getting lunch ready.
Don't worry, she'll drop by to say hi sooner or later. I'll bet you'd rather have been welcomed in by Shannon instead of that nosy Goda.
Shannon. Ah. Yeah, I remember a girl with that name. She's still a servant? How's she doing? I guess we're about to find out, aren't we? By the way, Natsuhi-san, how's your headache been lately? It seemed pretty serious before. Oh. God damn, that face. That face of just pure ugh. I have been much better lately. Thank you for your concern.
Oh, right. Here. A present for you, Natsuhi-ne-san.
Thank you very much. I am always receiving gifts from you. Is this black tea?
It's herb tea with peppermint and lemon balm. It's a blend from a well-known store, and it's supposed to be good for headaches. I thought it might help you too.
Rosa was always a conscientious woman. Probably because she was the youngest of four and much younger than the other three. She managed to grow up without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. Her kind words got Natsuhi to soften her expression for just a moment. But it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by long years of mental stress.
Come to think of it, you're always complaining about those headaches. Pull yourself together.
Jessica-chan has her exams this year, right? That's going to be a turning point in her life. Will she really be able to rely on you as a mother if you're like that? Besides, Natsuhi-san, you're 3 years younger than me. You should get your act together. I apologize. I've had a tendency for headaches all my life.
Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully. But her comments aimed at Natsuhi contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsuhi. She frantically contained her urge to grimace, pretend to ignore Eva.
Our Badler-kun will have his exams this year too. Rudolph-san, should you be a little concerned as well? For the sake of your own son, you better get serious to the point of having headaches like Natsuhi-san.
If I say anything, he automatically rebels. So what should I say? Should I say the opposite, that it's okay for him to mess around? That's probably the only way I could get him to listen to me. Hideyoshi-san, George did really well in his exams, right? Please, you gotta teach me the trick of handling children. Well, it's probably because I got him to understand why he should study. Study isn't worth anything on its own. That's right. The real point of studying is to practice research and stuff on your own whenever you bump into something you don't know. If you can't do that, you can't be useful to society. I'm not talking about math or writing. You gotta learn how to learn.
That's splendid. I wish our Jessica could understand that as well. If she is to be the heiress of the Shiromiya family, then at this rate... Do you really have to force her into becoming the successor? After all, a woman has to find a woman's happiness. Parents shouldn't force such things on their children, don't you think?
Hold your horses, Ava. Each family has its own way of raising their kids. You shouldn't be pushy.
I'm sorry. Natsuhi-san, don't take it the wrong way.
Though the light shining in through the window was quite warm despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which was probably causing headaches for more than just Natsuhi. As if to sweep away that mood, Kairi brightly made a suggestion to all present. Still, this black tea has a really lovely aroma. Let's drink it right away. In Japan, surely you couldn't find something like Leopold's black tea anywhere but Ginza, right? I see you know a lot about... I see you know a lot about it, Kairi-ne-san. I guess it was worth going to the trouble of buying it. Kairi and Rosa stood up from their seats and made as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsuhi forestalled them.
I thank you both, but we can try that later. One of our people will soon be coming to bring some tea, so please relax.
Leave it for later, you two. Let's enjoy our welcome drink. Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Kairi and Rosa understood instantly and obediently returned to their seats. The initial greeting of the guests was complete, so it was time for them to be served some tea. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Natsuhi bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Ava immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart piled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsuhi gave her a pained look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong. Hello, Shannon.
Excuse me. Your tea is ready.
Oh, Shannon-chan. It's been a while. You keep getting prettier every time I see you.
Oh, thanks.
Save the chatting for after you've set the table. The tea will get cold.
I apologize, madam.
She apologized like a small frightened animal, bumped against the serving cart, and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Her clumsiness made Natsuhi's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more.
Come on, Natsuhi-san. There's nothing wrong with her exchanging a few words and greeting.
The tea must be plenty cold already, considering how long we've been kept waiting.
There's no need to worry. It's not cold yet.
Shannon finished setting the table quickly.
I'm sorry, madam.
Natsuhi's irritation was obvious by now. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant, everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsuhi's everyday leadership, making her lose face. As the person in charge of the Ushiromiya head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed, today of all days, was surely nothing less than total humiliation. Lay off, Natsuhi-san. Don't you think it's a little harsh to bully Shannon-chan when she's trying her best?
I'm not bullying anyone. What a nice aroma. May I ask what brand this is?
I'm terribly sorry. I'll find out for you later.
Kairi was trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood. However, Shannon had embarrassed herself instead, darkening Natsuhi's face and the room's mood. By this point, Ava was audibly giggling. What's this? Shannon-chan, don't you even know what you're pouring us? Come now, you mustn't serve something so suspicious to guests. We'll need a silver spoon at the very least before we can drink this.
I'm sorry. I'll go get one immediately.
Shannon-chan, do you know what silver spoons are used for? They have to be silver. Do you know why?
No.
A teasing smile rose to Ava's face as she stared at Shannon setting the table. By itself, Ava's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Ava's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help. They say that if silver is touched by poison, it darkens. Guess you've learned something today, Shannon-chan. They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. In Natsuhi's eyes, this was an insult both to the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Ava's shoulder. Silver cutlery wouldn't do any good for you, Anake. Just one lick of your poisonous tongue and even a silver plate would turn to pitch black. Since I get to hear that poison tongue every day, I must be poison-proof myself by now. Ava, I don't mind when you use it on me, but you better hold back when talking to people who haven't built up a resistance.
My, how cruel. All I did was teach Shannon-chan a bit about tea, didn't I?
Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckled, though not easily. Only Natsuhi didn't join in, but for the time being, the conversation inside the parlor could now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. As Shannon finally finished setting the tea table and tried to leave, Kairi apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Shannon cast her eyes downwards as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she'd been bullied in some way. Don't be sad. You didn't do anything wrong, Nason.
You were watching.
That is my role. Madam and Eva-sama can go to hell. But the worst coward is that guy. Kanon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, it had been Goda's mistake. After all, there was no way a show-off like Goda would give up a flashy job like bringing in tea when the guests arrived. He had ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again. So when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt it was a cowardly one. Ooh.
It's okay, Kanon-kun. Thanks. I'm not bothered by it at all.
Kanon's silence wildly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt.
Thank you. Even if you're the only one who understands, I feel a bit better.
You keep your feelings too bottled up, Nissan. You should be less hard on yourself for once.
Yeah. Thanks.
Suddenly they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, that servant. What are you doing there? Shannon, hurry back to the kitchen.
Yes, if you'll excuse me.
Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Kanon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words. What is it? Did something happen? Shannon didn't do anything wrong. But even so, they...
Stop it, Kanon-kun. Please, excuse me. I'll return to work immediately. Kanon-kun, you should go back to your post too. Please.
If you say so, Nason. If that is all, then go.
Yes. If you'll excuse me.
From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa. Poor Shannon-san. Kanon-san. There's no reason for those two to be picked on. Still, Goda-san's dislike for them is an undeniable fact. Until Goda-san was taken in by the Ushiromiya head family, I hear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. The manner of work he learned there was quite impressive, I believe. It's just that Goda-san is the newest servant here. He must have a lot of pride accumulated from his previous positions, because Shannon-san and Kanon-san are his seniors here at the mansion, and yet are inexperienced and have gone through much less in life than he has. He picks on them at every chance he gets. And also, sad as it may be, they're disliked by Madame Natsuhi too. Of course, if we're talking about experience, the Madame has been in this family much longer. And yet, this is one point where I cannot help but sympathize with the Madame as well. Truly, the Master is a man with many sins on his conscience. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his would give the Madame such an inferiority complex? Of course, on the inside, even the Madame is fully aware that those two don't deserve to be treated so harshly. However, the heart has reasons that reason knows not. I feel so sorry for them. I can't do anything but watch over them from the shadows. Damn. Oh! Okay. Okay, so some shit's about to go down. Okay. Broken mirrors and shit. Let's go.